Excellent. Welcome back to the Alice in Videoland podcast, everyone. Right here in the vault at Alice in Videoland in Christchurch, New Zealand. My name is Jake. As always, I am joined by my good friend, Mr. Peter Tonks. Tonight we have a very special guest. We are joined by amazing local filmmaker, Stephanie Beth. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me along. Great to be here.
We are absolutely thrilled to have you. First of all, is this your first time at Alice in Videoland?
It's not the first time.
Wonderful.
No, not
Yes.
at all. I would say take me back at least 4 decades, though I don't know when Alice opened.
Amazing.
Right.
Maybe 3.
85. Yep.
Take me back. I've seen not only life here, but sons taking over from fathers and students of mine working here when they left. So this is the hub of switched on culture.
And I've seen notes. I've seen notes when she's been in here saying, "Oh, give me a ring."
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Incredible. Oh, that's so cool.
Peter and
Which I haven't rang.
Peter and I go back quite a long time.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have a very impressively rich history in Canterbury film. Particularly.
I do find that the delight of being involved in film is that I found, in hindsight, that I was quite early into the beginning rumblings of working in film as well as looking at film. So I've had each side of the camera. I've always been a wonderful consumer, of watching dramas and a few cult and a few horror later as I became more mature.
Interesting. Okay. I'm looking forward to your 10 picks thing because I feel like we're going to have a very varied mix of genres. So.
Well, Jake, what I like about your even thinking and Peter of inviting me and knowing that I had some experience in Canterbury, the key is to point out that when you have experience to be having looked at enough film to talk about them in your 20s. And then you see people who are 15 and 14 and 17 and 21 all wanting to do things. We were at the cusp, in the early 80s of the industry starting to become solidly active because you could get equipment and you could park cars and have people who knew how to do many of the tasks involved in the industry. In wardrobe, props, makeup. We had an established industry. And I knew when I was young, coming in the 70s, that I was an avid student because I was being taught, still in a vacuum, about what it was going to be like should we study well and then go out and proceed into the world as one is meant to do once they have qualified.
Mm.
Do you feel like there were many opportunities, I suppose, particularly in Canterbury, for people who wanted to pursue a career in film? Or was it something where you would have to travel to Wellington or Auckland at that point in time? Or
anyone who becomes skilled in their profession must become international immediately.
Of course, yeah.
Being professional is not to be local. They're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
To be professional is to be impassioned by the tradition of the form that you want to adopt.
Wow.
And you want to learn everything about the camera, the brand of the camera, the tripod, the brand of the tripod, why one country made what, why one country didn't make what,
Yep.
Where in the timeline of history. You become entirely engrossed in the privilege of a moving image form.
That's so well put.
Yeah.
So you attended the Ilam Fine Arts College back in the 70s, that was the first time it sort of had been done, I guess.
It's so interesting to recognise the timeline of history in terms of the Fine Arts School and how everything about Western education got divided into the First and Second World War, you might say,
yes,
and post the wars. I've been very conscious of myself having been born as a child of 1948, so I'm the child of the rising economy, and I wasn't as a child from the age of 15. It's just assuming I would travel into the world. So coming to art school was after travel.
Amazing.
I was already an old person. I was wiser at 26.
Oh wow. Okay. Oh. Right. Where did you go?
Well, Well. I mean, I love the way you mentioned Canterbury, because that's has its characteristic of importance. Because in the time that I decided to do tertiary study, Canterbury was clearly a choice, but I still did not, even when I came to live here in 1974, I didn't yet know what I wanted to do. So it was because I had been in Europe and America and Canada and Mexico and Asia and travelled overland through Afghanistan and had been in Istanbul and because I had seen the scope of the world, and because I knew a great deal of my own family history, when it migrated, etc., I knew there's some way I can get involved in history, and it wasn't going to be history. And so I started in liking art, and by the time I was at the film school, the teacher actually was an animator, hand cardboard cut animations.
Amazing.
There weren't even stop frame cameras. I mean, he got a Bill and Hal, a Hordle, Hodson and Hordle, can't remember the name of the company, but a vertical stop frame camera.
Yes, amazing.
And that really switched me on, realizing that you can manipulate images as well as moving image. So it's an incredible luxury that I had as a patterning of how I spent my 70s, which was 5 years out of the country, being everywhere to talk to, having married someone who came from another culture, so already had lived the 60s in a very hard case way.
Yes.
America, Canada, Austria, London, Amsterdam.
Brilliant.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So going to art school, I could compound on having met. I mean, it's incredible how intensely involved I've become just lately. I spent the last 2 years writing up, in a sense, my archive of thinking. I'm turning it into an ebook, which is a story of the person I met in the 60s, who I am still living with, and we're writing together our stories. And so it's the Western story of cinema as kind of the cream on the cake, really, of the privilege we've had to be engaged. Is just astonishing. I mean,
that's beautiful. That's
in
really
the arts
cool.
sort of thing, because you
engaged in the arts, and I mean to just cap that back history, which has led to being at Canterbury, is I knew that there was a really great school, a university, standard university, engineering, history, English, here in Canterbury, and we were living in Hedra in Greece when we both decided. He had an undergraduate English degree, history. And we said, we've got to go and live in a town. And he said, it's got to be a town no bigger than what Athens was like at its peak of time.
Wow.
So we picked
Christchurch.
We picked Christchurch as the place to come to live.
Wow.
Incredible.
And you've been here ever since, pretty much, haven't you?
The what?
You've been here ever since?
Since 1974.
Wow.
We came here after. So yeah, 4 years of travel, 4 years of school, and then I got a commission to make my first film.
Yeah, incredible. Well, thank you for staying. Thank you for picking Canterbury. That's incredible. So your specialist subject is documentary filmmaking, obviously.
It has been. I mean, it's past. When I look at how I've worked, I took up the adage from anyone who ever taught art, and by this time I'd lived with an artist in Europe, flattered with her, and realised, oh my gosh, everyone is told that they need 10 years before they mature at what they're wanting to make. And so when you're a student, it'll take you 10 years to know really what you would like to do.
Yes.
And so I set myself a 10-year goal from that point on.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
You're such a go-getter. That's incredible.
I do something every 10 years.
Yeah, good on you. That's amazing. That is so cool. So you and Peter met at film. So you were running a film called Peter. Tell us.
Yeah, I went to when I moved to Christchurch. I went to film school. I tried to get into film school, missed out the first time I tried, and I ended up doing your course, Thinking and Creating, which was great. I loved that course. It was a fun course, and you showed us lots of films, and I think we did a bit of theatre, and we shot stuff and. Dance.
There was someone who
taught
drumming.
Drumming, was it drumming? Yeah, it was everything going on there.
Really
did you do like more than one course? Was it?
No, I was coordinator and camera equipment.
Yeah, but did you do like was I the only course you did, or you did like courses for years?
For me, that was an interim. That was an interim after I made an amazingly gorgeous film up in Auckland in 1980. So I'd made the film,
Yeah.
and of course was immediately broke. And I was asked to come down here to actually do some in-house at Polytech
Yeah.
for the staff. So I did staff in-house, and then while I did that, if you might have been told by a parent perhaps, the 1980s became a pretty economically difficult time, and there were a lot of pretty difficult jobs not available, and there
Right.
were lots of kids dropping out of school. So in fact, before I went to the Polytech, the Labour Department wanted to do some short courses with camera, because that became sort of a fantasy that if people can make their own little videos, they'll become literate, and not of course often isn't a jump, but they're visually literate. But then where does it go? Because these would be the questions, Jake, that you've been asking yourself ever since.
Yeah,
where
true.
does it go next? So
Yeah.
I was aware of stepping stones, which is why I said, after I'd sort of been to community halls where young 9-year-olds were being shown cameras,
Yeah.
I suggested that we have a course that was a bit longer and get together a team, because the whole thing about learning excitedly in the arts is to be multidisciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that course we did lots of stuff. And
Yeah.
I come from a small town, Ashburton, so there was nothing like that down there. So
No.
coming here and doing that course with you was great.
No.
No.
So and there was a woman who's a poet. So I mean, we all had second jobs. You know, one was a poet who had to be an English teacher. One was teaching drama, who had to also do casting, because casting was just beginning to happen, not just for plays, but maybe for commercials. Maybe.
Is that Rosie? Was it?
And in fact, the person who was tied up with music and drumming, I found out only no more than a year ago, was the piano tuner for everything that went to the Venice Biennale, with the piano of Michael
Oh my gosh.
Parafoci.
I don't know. I'm naive when it comes to that. Is he a local pianist or an international?
No. When we remember Michael Parakofi, he went to Venice, and
He's obviously good.
well, and also this is astonishing that I can't just remember Michael's surname. So I hope we can do something about that.
We'll do
okay,
that.
of
We'll fix
course.
it up.
He was invited to Venice at the time of the months before the Christchurch earthquake.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he was over in Venice, and there's only one art delegate who's ever selected from this country, and any country, that is exhibited at Venice at the Biennale. And he had quite recently graduated out of Auckland with a master's degree in sculpture, and he bought a Steinway piano, Michael Parakofi.
There you go.
He bought a Steinway piano and then veneered it with extra timber, which he carved and lacquered in red paint.
Yep.
Does that ring a bell? A red painted piano.
It doesn't,
Anyway.
but it's Murray Patton's.
Maury
yeah.
patterns on
Brilliant.
it. Yeah,
Great.
and so
That's
I was
incredible.
delighted to
Wow.
find that one of our team was the piano tuner, like to go to Italy to look after that whole performance
Wow.
repertoire, because the whole point about Michael having the piano was, if you can think piano as the word of migrating, especially English, but Europeans, migrating people, the women had to learn the piano, or paint, or draw, or play a wind instrument, and be able to teach 3 languages, English, Italian, and
That was back when in the
German.
Back in the like 1900s.
from the
something.
1900s
Yeah,
right
wow.
through, right? But so here's Michael wondering what he will do, and he along with many ideas. He deals with Homer. He deals with Homer, and
Oh yeah.
anyway,
yep.
anyway, we're cutting too slowly into why we talk about film.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, we'll move on.
We are.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. No.
True, we're
We
getting
could.
out of
I honestly, hearing the history is incredible though, and I absolutely love talking about this. But I'm super excited to jump into your top
let's
10
get into
films.
the film. Yep.
What have you got for us, Steph? Where are we starting?
Right, now what I've got, the one backdated thing I can say about me being interested in making films, the 10th film project, the 10th year project for me,
Yes.
I went to California. So I made a film about video game designers. The thing that was great was that the skin I live in was on,
Oh,
cinema.
at the same time.
And
Right.
and I went with a group out in LA to watch this film, and it was selected particularly by one of the people who knew I loved Almodovar films, and they had all wanted to go and see Drive. It was a group of 8 of us, and they all wanted to go see Drive.
Yep.
Yes,
which
yep.
was-
And he said, no, Stephanie's coming. We're going to go and see Almodovar. Because I knew, he's an Englishman who that week had just become an American citizen. He was a graphic designer, big in the video game industry.
Amazing.
And he said, no, we're going to Almodovar.
And it was obviously a smart pick.
A very smart pick. And
was he there? Was the director there? Probably
no,
not.
no.
Never mind.
Now, the thing that's so wonderful about Almodovar is that you've got that one in your collection, and you have another which is many years before in the collection. And perhaps the key thing that I wish to say about Almodovar is, the woman
on the verge.
Woman on the verge of nervous breakdown. That's here. But he's also made a film about his mother.
Yes.
And I think
About my mother.
about my mother.
Oh, yeah.
So I realised that it was especially important for me to understand the sons or daughters who had powerfully beautiful relationships with their mother to carry on in their art. I mean, they would come up with different work. And that work has got an incredible tension because it's all about the man having control of the manipulation of the cosmetic.
It'll be her face, will it? Or
Yeah, the cosmetic woman.
Yeah, it sounds great. It looks
Yeah.
quite dark. Have it, Peter? Are you familiar with?
That one I haven't seen, but was it inspired by Eyes Without a Face? Is that right? Is it a similar story?
You might know.
Oh yeah, I heard it was. I must watch it. But which is she gets a whole new face. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Builds up a new face. Yeah.
Well, you see, I got my first commission making a film in 1977, and then was almost thrust into the idea that if I'm making a documentary, make this film that women are in. And it hadn't crossed my mind that I was going to pick a sex or a gender or a forest. You know, I hadn't really decided what I might be making films about. But when I understood that working to a commission is a good way to get started, which was so
Find your
astonishing, and being able to tour with it, because I had to market it myself because there was no such thing as a 16mm projector screen in a cinema.
Of course,
Was that the one? What film was that? Was that?
That's
Joy
I
or-
Want to Be Joan.
I Want to Be Joan, yep.
Yeah.
Which I watched again the other day.
Which you'll be able to look up. I mean,
So it's online.
Not that I'll mention it today, but then I realised that I had to look at power and control. I mean, clearly, when I was looking at relationships at close quarters with male, female,
Yeah.
and with yeah. So,
And that film would definitely
well,
cover that
that
subject.
fits into this astonishing bracket.
Yeah.
amazing. Wow.
So anyway, because we want to move through, don't we?
Yep. Well, I don't. We can take our time, but we can. So we've got that one though, and we've got. What about you? What do you remember about that one? Woman on the Verge. I've seen that one many years ago.
No, well, you tell me, because
I've
I
forgotten.
remember all about my mother, but I don't remember that
I've
one.
forgotten too, but it was great. I must rewatch it.
We should talk about.
Well, he's an interesting
All about
film.
my mother as well.
I think the important thing that I will be able to do is cycle through.
Different genre, yeah.
Well, cycle through my idea of power, control,
Gotcha.
death, misery, and also if we're looking at the timeline, I'm particularly interested in narratives.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have picked a documentary I want to make reference to, but
Amazing.
it's narratives that I'm committed to as a viewer.
Great.
Clearly,
Yeah, of course.
clearly.
No, of
And so I will mention Almodovar as one of the European modernists, as I will to another modernist that we come to soon.
Okay,
Great.
done.
Nevertheless, to stay with this wonderful theme of the, and it's lovely that you mentioned the word joy, because that was the second film I made, and that wasn't like 10 years later, that was just 18 months later.
So that was the one 1980 in Auckland that you shot in Joy,
yeah,
right?
Yes, the one I shot in Auckland. And that was, I needed to make that because I needed to put flowers on the previous film, wrap a huge bow around the previous film.
Yep.
Because there were many questions to be asked. And so
18 months after.
Yeah, 18 months.
Incredible.
So I quickly moved into another one. And of course I was in the perfect position of having graduated as a student, having been commissioned on a complete high of confidence, and knowing that, whatever I do next, well, it'll just fit beautifully and people
Yep.
will love it, you know.
Amazing.
And so to get slightly near the ambiguity of life for so many people is, I only saw this on TV just the other day.
Oh,
Amazing.
And I'm so
Amazing.
glad you have it. And this is Frances Ha. In a sense, the thing that's sweet about Frances Ha is that this film personifies what it is like to wonder about being part of the creative process and then not knowing how to commit and not to make the confident decision to work hard.
I feel like every aspiring filmmaker experiences that.
You have to work hard. You
Yes.
simply have to work hard.
Yeah.
You simply, because as I get through my pile, and I'm so glad you mentioned to me, I think you've seen one in my pile at the end, but as we get through to the end, it will be for you and the three of us to talk about hard work and the gift of creativity, how it flows if it's fostered and fed.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Now, the thing that's great about that, Jake, is that the performance of this character, it's in New York, and she's a very keen dancing female, right? So that immediately lifts the percentages of what females might do with their lives if they're not going to become pianists or flautists. They might dance. Okay, you know, any individual, and of course this is free of any sex or gender. Dance, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
dance and music are really come before everything, and then maybe thinking and literature came afterwards, or the ambiguities of philosophy came after. But dance and song, they really came first, didn't they?
Yeah, of course.
Really.
True.
So
Yeah.
Frances is the study of her small enclave of New Yorkers. Loving that she's got her part-time job, loving her manner, her personality. She has no idea yet to refine her or polish her own skill to become anything. And what to become in dance really means to become a choreographer. You have to be able to choreograph your work, otherwise you're teaching other people's moves. And that's essentially what this is a story of.
Yeah, nice.
In the interim, the dialogue that flows on this film is just a delight. It's just.
Yeah, I must watch it again. Yeah.
Oh, have you seen it once?
I have seen it a long time ago, and it appears in lots of top 100 lists actually. I haven't put it in our one, but it is a popular film.
Well, the dialogue of support is wonderful. I mean, there's the person who runs a school. He keeps offering her a part-time job, and no, she doesn't want to do books or whatever. She's.
Her own dreams. She wants to follow her own dreams.
She follow her own, but she hasn't. Yeah, and she dances away along the street. It's just a total delight. And she goes, well, I won't say anymore. But I'm so glad you've seen it once, and I'm so glad that it's reached some kind of list because it's the elegance with which it's handled.
Yep. No, I think actually is the filmmaker the lady that did Barbie?
Well, it's Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
So she's credited as one of the writers and one of the lead cast members. So it's probably going to pop back up into pop culture and stuff. I think just with the likes of Barbie and her being signed on to.
She directed Barbie, I think so.
Yeah, and she's also doing the new line, The Witch in the Wardrobe, and her name's obviously on a lot of things now. So that
I think that's her first film.
Well, I mean, I must say just a little more about dance because clearly, no, I mean, I have heard classical music in my background, and I've heard country and western in someone else's background, but my own. I mean, certainly, I could easily say, yes, I loved hearing Joni Mitchell when I lived in a house with 3 other Canadians in a big house in Rangiora.
Dancing around the house?
I wish I'd known you then. You would have loved coming to our Friday dinners.
Nice. In Rangiora, cool.
In Rangiora, yeah. We got an old 1882 two-story house together.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Nice.
The thing that's important to even say is a derivative of the timeline of care for women is, do you dance with points or do you dance sans point?
Oh,
So you have Margot Fontaine on points from a very young age, and she was the first person I saw dance when I went to London, straight to see Baryshnikov and.
You saw them for real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible.
And
wow.
and then what do you do with that? Well, in fact, she ended up being hired to raise money for her husband from Panama, who was trying to be a revolutionary. So she was an arms trader, actually, at the end.
Is that the one that filmed?
Margot Fontaine, which I found quite delightful. And and quite a twist on how you get caught with a very strict education, a strict training. You become a star, and if you have a chance to a so-called normal life, where does it lead you? Well, you're still desperate for it to work.
Arms dealing.
So that's why something like this is great, because we're not going to have the extremes that we used to have from the early 50s and 60s, and I mean, even is it
we can cut there. We can cut there if you want.
Yeah.
Go on the next one, we'll cut that
we'll
out.
cut from there.
That's okay. That's it's a beautiful looking film.
Pretty cool.
I love
I'm going to watch it again after hearing say that, because it is on other lists.
It looks really
and
good.
I didn't put it on our one because
is the whole film in black and white?
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
I love it. I love a New York setting too. That's great. It looks really cool.
Where you see me next is having left London. I lived on and off, in and out of London if I wasn't in Canada or Mexico.
And that would have been in the
and this was
it would have been 70s or 80s, isn't it?
This is. Would you have a look and see where it's from?
Of course.
Yeah, it is London. And Daniel Day-Lewis, we were just talking about Daniel Day-Lewis because he just watched.
Would this be earlier than the one you were talking
after
about?
Room with the View, I think.
Oh yeah.
But this was a big hit in the 80s.
Well,
it's film 4, so it'll be UK. Yeah.
Hanafi is the director, correct?
Stephen Frears.
Oh, Stephen Frears. Stephen Frears.
Yes. What was the name you said?
I was thinking it was. Well, I can't think.
Yeah, no, Stephen Frears is the director of that one. Yeah. Asian community in London.
Yeah, Stephen Frears made this. In passing, I could be mixing up another one about. This could be mixing with the next one.
They open up a laundromat, obviously, and they've got a gay relationship.
There's a film that follows, which is called Sammy and Rosie Gets Laid.
Oh, yes.
And I had a feeling it was tied up with this. But so in passing, because I was wandering in and agog at your many fantasy and sci-fi and.
Well, hopefully.
I didn't look at the music capsule section.
But hopefully we've got that one as well, because I remember that film.
Do you?
Yeah, I've seen it too.
Well, it's the thing that's really interesting about this period is the beginning of the contestation of British culture by colonial people from other cultures who were not breaking through any kind of ceiling of success in their own lives. And I mean, you set this in a laundry, and you've got
and a sort of relationship with the Indian guy and Daniel Day-Lewis's character, and that was a sort of a mixed relationship and a gay relationship, so that would have been.
You remember more, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I saw it here, when I quickly came in tonight,
Yeah.
I grabbed it because there was something about the beginning of cinema in England that was dealing with its own historical, economic reality.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was something about the 80s where
they were revisiting wrongs in the past.
Not so much even that. The economy of Britain had never recovered much after the war. They were so impoverished after the war. It took a long time, and then we get to Margaret Thatcher, just like we got to Roger Douglas here. The 80s was needing to look at OPEC oil crisis, the fact that we couldn't have subsidies in trading and tariffs,
Yeah.
So now we can use twice these days. And so this underbelly of resentment and fury at how nothing was working anymore.
Yeah.
That's a conspicuous idea of the 1980s.
Yeah, I always look at it as being quite exciting because I was young, I suppose.
Yes.
And it was lots of crazy hairdos and fashion going on. I always thought.
Yes, you would. Isn't that interesting? Well, of course, but Peter, the great thing is when you're full of youth, your pop culture is really important.
Right.
It's actually the conduit, your first conduit, because you don't want to hear what the parents are talking about in terms of debt crisis.
Conduit. That's such a good way of putting it. Yeah.
And so no, I mean, be as crazy as you can. That's your right. That's your rite of passage, isn't it?
Yeah, true. I'm starting to go on about that sort of stuff now, and my kids will be thinking the same thing. No, Dad, I don't want to hear that. Yeah, no.
But that's why so many of the films and my picks were the nostalgic picks, things from my childhood, pop culture.
Oh,
that
really?
had a big imprint on me, and sort of
Oh,
now.
that's so sweet.
Yeah, and now
I
I've sort
know.
of carried it through into my adult life, and that's why I wear shirts with films from my childhood on it and different bits and pieces.
Now there is a real segregation of our generations, because I'm just post-war, right? So fathers, uncles, grandfathers, other people's neighbours were flying planes or bombing or being in prison or war camp, you know, and then I would meet Germans, and I would meet migrants in England from Germany, and so I was sobered enormously when I went to Europe.
Right, yes.
Because don't forget my age difference between me and you. So pop culture to me when I was 15 was Twiggy. You probably don't even know who Twiggy was.
I'm familiar with.
Well, there was a
Supermodel.
photographer that did fashion shoots.
Right, right.
Yeah, and she lifted the hem above the knee, and
Mini skirt.
Yeah, wow.
yeah.
Famous.
And even in the process between me being 15 and loving Twiggy and just hooning about on her scooter and things like this. I mean, I bought an e-scooter just 5 years ago. I used it for 2 years. For 2 years. Well, and then that's the difference. That was pop culture for me. It was women changing their hemline and being having a laugh.
Yeah, I think a lot of UK cinema has sort of done quite well at taking that that time period, that 80s time period, very depressing, and there's a lot of good films came out of it. I mean, even that one that I watched today, Meantime.
Last week JC was going on about Meantime, so Jake watched that one.
Mike Lee film, and it's all literally just a. You don't know if you're familiar with it, but
yes,
it was an incredible film, and
yes.
it reminded me of we were talking about Shane Meadows, This Is England, films like that, and I do find that a really interesting part of.
Well, Jake, it's so important that you've now tapped into, because it is your cultural heritage. This is really the key.
Yeah.
We have to understand our cultural heritage as not only generational, but how we were taught at school, and how, you know, adages were passed down, and especially in the secular world, but obviously they were preceded by the religious world. I mean, and the economy is always how we respond to what films are all about. But, the economy allowed us to have the expensive cameras from the war front of Germany, the Aeroflex. I mean, that's what I hired in 1980.
Wow.
And I wanted it because I wanted an Aeroflex. I wanted to shoot negative film. I wanted to have...
Did you shoot on 16 or 35?
I shot 16.
16, yeah.
I shot 16, and I borrowed $10,000 to be able to make negative.
Incredible.
I tell you, because I was already running out of time. I mean, I was already, by that time,
26,
I was 29 by
29,
then.
right.
My third film. I was 30. I was 30 when I finished. I knew as soon as I went to art school that I wouldn't be a filmmaker. I would cultivate my own independent path. You know, because you have to be 15, 16 and 17 and running. It hasn't changed, which is why when we get to the other bottom of the pile, you'll understand the breeding of a proficient artist. You know, a proficient artist
true.
has to have a back history.
You still made 3
that
films,
comes
though.
from the family.
Yeah, but by 30, that's incredible.
You've still got 3 films under your belt. That's better than most.
Well, of course, so that's it. And the 10-year gap was wanting to make the greatest of all, which is have a child. I mean, so that fitted in before the next one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. All right, next one then. Thank you. Brilliant. That was great.
Well, the importance it'll come out in my ebook. I've done 2 years of writing.
Oh,
and
that's
research.
amazing. Yeah, no, this is exciting. It's really good.
The thing that's really important to understand is the power of the British economy and culture and civilization. It is the largest empire of all time, and the more expensive since Alexander and the Ottoman Empire. Yep. So by the time you get to the Tate Britain, this is me in 1970. Before you even go to Tate Modern, which I went to in 2000. So it took me those many years to want to go there to a film retrospective. But at Tate Britain, there was a massively interesting, for me, first experience of seeing Turner's skies, and he painted many, many, many skies. I'd been to the Frick in New York and seen many, many constables, and had only learnt then that, of course, a painter is prolific. I mean, it was something I wasn't going to be. When I see what a painter had to do in those generations, you just...
So every day, were they?
Every day. You have to draw every day.
Yeah.
You make hundreds of works. So
Even of the same painting, probably you probably
even
do
of the
three or
same
four-
painting,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
just versions of the thing. So you draw. I mean, your generation got that image or got that picture once you started looking at comic books and comic books and cartoons and illustrations. I think that brought a little bit of the wisdom to the fore that lots of people draw. It's which form you use to take that further into your professional life.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, so Turner and this incredible actor playing.
Timothy Spall.
Timothy
And it's a
Spall.
Mike Leigh film.
Yeah, and it's Mike. So many people were playing, and so of course Turner's off to a little bit of village, and this is the whole study of his painting life. And
He was quite radical. He was quite obscure, wasn't he? He was
Yes.
quite a wee bit. They were doing real traditional paintings, and he was a little bit of a, almost like a Van Gogh type thing, wasn't he? Before Van, yeah.
Yeah, he was quite smitten with the mystery.
Yeah.
And
Out of focusy type.
yeah,
stuff
and so you see the sky, and you see they're coveted and valued and respected. I mean, you'll see in my ebook when you start reading, in the rooms next door were Mark Rothko paintings. So that's not a film, but it's beside a huge story about culture.
Well,
So
how far away is this book? Is it almost done?
it's already started. I'm running it as serialized. So as soon as people
So that
email
link
in,
you
they
sent
can
me-
start reading me live and then want to read me more.
Oh, okay. You did send me the link. I thought it was coming, but
No,
I've
I've decided it's turning on live. I've turned it on with
Oh,
my
good on
writing
you.
partner.
Oh, wow.
I'll send him a link.
And his story backdates to 1629
Shit, this is incredible.
when his family left England and went to
Oh my
America.
gosh! Wow, incredible. That
Yeah,
was great.
so, so I feel that I can talk about these people because
Because you've been
I'm
studying them recently.
I'm concentrating on my impressions in Europe, in America, in that I am going to mention a film that came out of New Zealand quite recently, and it's about an architect.
That's coming
story,
up. That's
architecture
coming up.
story, and that's
Do you want to
coming
go?
up.
You want to go that one now? Or
Well, I'll show you. I'll show you.
You can do it now if you want. Do it, jump it forward.
I'll jump forward to there. I want to show how the English connection persists. You mentioned Canterbury, and the architect Miles Warren, who before he died became a Sir, which I suppose just tells us something about national pride. Partnered with a working class boy from England who became his draftsman.
Yeah,
And
and,
they-
that's a
and
recent,
they- and
recent
they-
TV film
And that's a recent film made in this country.
in Christchurch. in fact.
And an excellent study of the partnership of a fanciful drawer, a committed architect, a privileged architect who swept into form and shape and vision, supported by a technically, utterly exquisitely competent draftsman.
Good team, weren't they? Yeah,
Good
yeah,
team, yeah.
yeah.
And of course, it's the delight that enough material has been collected about that story, in order that there's enough material to make a film.
Yes.
And I ended up, just before I saw this film, I ended up at his house. He's got a house in Governor's Bay.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful garden, absolutely beautiful garden. I forget what it's called now, but yeah, it was very And then I saw this film straight afterwards almost.
And the film did incredibly well. It's which is so good for a Canterbury film. It went huge. And it ended up getting repeat screenings, sold out sessions.
You're so right. It got repeat screenings.
We need to give it praise because honestly, it went above and beyond, and I think it deserved to. And
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it
No,
yet. I haven't
that's
seen it yet.
great.
So it's on my list.
Yeah.
My parents have seen it. So many people I know have seen it. The editor Richard Lord is a friend of mine. He's a lovely fella, and I've seen him pushing this film very heavily as well. So I would love to see. I think everyone should see it. I need to see it.
Yeah.
And then we're going straight into another one, aren't we?
Yeah. Well. The reason I'm so delighted it was managed is the reason that I'm so excited that the film was held together by someone who respected the challenges to an architect. And in the case of Warren, he was. Christchurch is known for their modernist buildings, and particularly he was interested in the brutalist style, which is to work with.
That was his inspiration, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you remember how you make rocks by. Do you know how to compress a whole lot of stones together in a sludge of some kind, and you make a composite concrete?
Yes,
Yeah. Whatever that is, whatever that process is.
He specialised in that. Yeah.
Which in England persisted as public buildings really in small towns, but here was our town hall.
Yeah.
So you know the Dalai Lama. Right through to our local Littleton musicians.
Yes.
Right, you know.
Yeah.
So here we go with the town hall. That's the reason why that film's amazing.
Yeah. But also the buildings, they saved the building, which was the beauty about this film.
Yes. So that's the brain of the council getting behind it. Pardon?
You get tears in your eyes watching that film?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
I did.
Yeah, because you know if we're talking about settlement, if we're talking about culture, if we're talking about the arts. You don't have it without settlement, with culture and people committing, you know, on every level.
Yep.
The experience post-Second World War, clearly, for a Hungarian architect is very, very different. And this is an astonishingly interesting film. And I particularly was struck by the fact that it's also about designing in a brutalist style. And you can imagine what it would be like in the 50s to even know if you're going to have a contract. So this is a story of a man who's an architect. He can't even afford yet for his wife and child to come over and join him
because of the war.
Which would have been the same when people went from England to America in the 1600s and they could only go fishing, maybe try and settle, maybe. But most people who were men who went first, the men always went first. Anywhere, didn't they? As the world expanded in the economy and trade, women only came if it was affordable to bring them because there was some kind of existence. And this is a beautifully severe study of the pain and the damage that has occurred in a person's life.
Due to having to relocate to a different country and a different culture.
Having come from the wars.
Yeah, and the wars, yes.
Yeah. And I decided today when you said come in, I thought, well, yeah, there's women, there's men, there's wars in the economy, and you know here we are again with every country in Europe having to remilitarize.
It is going.
I mean, and because we haven't got the children present, we can talk serious stuff here.
It's almost I was thinking it's almost 100 years since it happened last time. You know, like the two wars last time.
Yeah,
like
we are astonishingly poised. You know, with valuing how we interrelate, communicate, listen, all those values of the human psychology, which I think is why I'm biasing towards dramas today.
Yep.
Yeah, so I highly recommend this, and I'm so glad you have it here.
Yes.
And the director, have you got the director?
Brady Corbett. The film, and it's another film that did incredibly well. I mean, three Academy Awards. It was huge. Very, very much talked about when it came out. It had a very successful run. You guys played it here, and I'm sure it did well here. So
no, it's a great film.
Yeah. Now I'm going to slip into this one just quickly before we.
Have a bit more fun.
End with a dramatic, a more dramatic sort of laconic pile. I'll get us back to Antonioni for a lot of reasons, and you can see actually, though I have been to see films in New York and LA or whatever, and though I have of course grown up on everything that was shown at the Civic up in Auckland as a little girl, because I grew up on a farm, so we could only see movies if Dad would drive us.
Oh wow!
And it was worth driving all the way from Hawke's Bay to Auckland every winter just to go to the Civic.
Almost every session would have been very memorable then.
Yeah, totally. So though I've gone through all of those huge cinema Hollywood films, living in England, as you can hear me even mentioning Mike Leigh, and you all agree, to be aware of culture, that film was changing with its material, with its content,
Yes, and this all started around this period.
So in Italy, of course, post-war, also everyone's changing with content. So this film precedes. It's the third part of a trilogy of 3 of his films.
Oh wow!
And after this film, he did well enough that he made Blow Up in England. So he actually had his first English language film after this. And you might have heard of the film Blow Up.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I've seen all his films. They're great.
Yeah.
They're
So
very
this is,
stylish.
and Jake, this is another black and white, and
Beautiful black and
It
white.
looks beautiful. I just even
now
the
now
cover
the
looks beautiful
the,
too.
the,
All
The
the,
eclipse, isn't it?
the
Is it like-
simplicity of this is how minimally, in a way, it works with its locations, and so the structure of the architecture and a huge
True.
the beginning of the idea of a nuclear plant.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
almost
wow,
relate to it as far
wow.
as the style of this one, can't you? Or
Yeah.
his style
Yeah,
would be.
yeah. So I've realised as I've gone back to work out that I was born 48, and have moved through as the innocent child of the 50s, running, playing, whatever, whodunning all around, and then had to get serious in my late 20s, hearing people talk about everything that happened in the 20th century, let alone, I mean, I did go to Tintagel and thought, oh yes, that's where King Arthur lived, but it was all still a bit vague. And I did brass rubbings in York, to see lots of knights, and I did go
Yes,
to
yeah.
London and see Henry's armory, which was probably like 5'6" taller,
Oh, really?
or
Really?
shorter. But besides all that, it was the idea of the modern world that really is the first thing, I think, in my sensibility, made me realise that you had to get away from pretty smudge sentimentality, and you look at why there's a sparse record of everything going on and how people are meant to still relate within it. That's what he's good for, and you would agree if you've seen all his films. So
Yeah, but you would have
it's
lived
like
through
it's like an NUI. It's like people don't know how to be impassioned. Like it's flattened world. What's the this is all set in the stock market.
Wow.
It's set at the stock exchange. And of course, what I also have found that when I look at films now, I look at the key actors. I mean, I look at every film that Tilda Swinton has been in,
Yep.
because she's committed to the artistic practice of the director.
Right.
I really believe
Yep.
in that. Now, Alain Delon is French born, but he's hired into that film to be the love interest.
And
But
she, that the main lady, and she's great. Whatever her name is.
So I'm throwing this at you almost as a surprise, Jack, just because it's really important to start, when you want to look back to the mid 20th century.
Yes.
And then come forward again.
Yeah. No, it looks wonderful. It looks
And that's
wonderful.
in our top 500. That one, so it's
Yeah.
one that you're going to get to.
I can't say I've seen too many Italian films, so yeah, I'll have to check that out. It looks beautiful.
So now, where would you like me to go? Keep going?
Keep going, definitely.
All right, because actually this is sort of this is a loving concession to America, really.
Yes.
It's so important to understand the psychology of the liberal ethos. If we are raised to start to see God within, whatever they would teach us in school, but that we're way beyond religious education now. We're living our lives where we have to create our own belief that we can become what we see to fit ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And Slacker is
Go anywhere.
Slacker is a great study of post-university. I think the generation of people, perhaps who are 19 or so.
Yep.
Do you remember it?
I've seen it. Yeah. No, it's great.
And living in a suburban, living poor, and living easy, and making sure they have lots of time for themselves, just to hang loose,
enjoy
and
themselves,
and do nothing except enjoy themselves.
no worries in the world, which is
worries in the
how
world.
I found the 80s, to be honest.
You did find them that way.
Yeah, I did.
So tell me a wee bit more.
Oh well, just because I was younger, I guess I was my teenage years. Your teenage years are always the best years, aren't
Yeah, it's still there's still that leap of misconnection, really, when we think of it now, between the generations, until we have back histories that are understood by the interweaving of the generations. Because we have generations right through all of history where the boys never knew what their father felt or such. You know what I mean? Or the absent father. This is now even a more contemporary horror story, the absent father.
Yes,
Yeah.
true. I didn't have that, but and my dad went to war, but he was at the end of the war, so I wouldn't. Yeah, I experienced a totally
Yeah.
different.
So
life to
we've made quantum leaps in working in the sciences to better appreciate psychology and metaphysics and astrophysics, etc., as well as being able to recognise the abuse to indigenous wisdom and culture. All of the complexity of power and abuse. We've all got hints of it and experience understandings of it. And so when we make films, it takes an enormous responsibility to just get flickers of the authenticity. You know, to embrace, because it's a privilege to make film. You must like life enormously, you know, and have great confidence in it.
And in that one, he's caught the vibe of that period, isn't he? Which would be, when would this be set? Be set in the early 80s?
Well, I would say, and it could be Philadelphia, or it could be
1991.
1991.
So
yeah, there you go.
It could be California. It could be Portland. It could be, you know, Texas. It could be any university town, actually, because I suppose that's really the key. Is you pump through, if you're university prone, according to your family, or according to your coming from a family that was not university prone, whatever. At the end of it, on the whole, you still often don't know what you want to do, really. How you're going to commit the next 44 decades.
It's not many people who go to university knowing what they want to do. And you were lucky in being 26, you probably would have had a direction.
I was. And then I had a California art history professor who started Arts and Letters. He started the really early website in Arts and Letters. He was amazing.
And all that travel that you did as well. I mean, it was probably so important for you to find that direction.
It was necessarily important because I married a Canadian who had already travelled, and girls my generation would marry a boy 4 years older, so already had youth. I mean, I married at 21, but he'd already had his youth. He was 24.
Oh, that's not too bad. It's still young.
But the kid youth, the real youth, you know, like found a way to work, found how to get on with people. You know, I was thinking, you're telling me just before how you just loved picking up on how cameras worked, and, you know, how you, because that's what you seem to appreciate, is being locally and seeing what to do. And my partner always talks about how he went into a radio station and, you know, helped hand out the discs to someone who ran a radio show. And
when he was younger?
When he was, 11,
cool.
12.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Actually, we had a guy in, one of our talks, we had a guy, Brian Jameson, he's from New Zealand, but he ended up in the States being a distributor of films. And he got to meet Stanley Kubrick and all sorts of people, and the Chaplin family and everything. And he was just in distribution all the way through. And he was telling us how he loved film. He started working in theatres when he was like 11 as well.
Yeah, just went down to the local theatre and learned how to work.
And see, that's the thing, is you go down there and you just feel the mood. You hang out. I mean, the young American actor who's played Dune, he's a perfect case study of
Chalamet.
If you understand his respect for the profession, you go hang out, you just practice, you work, you get to your peak. You have to get to your peak, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, actually, and that's what we said before. You got it. You can't cut corners. You got
to. You can't cut any corners.
I did hear him say Daniel Day-Lewis is his. That's his goal. His goal is to be Daniel Day-Lewis, I think.
Oh, that's excellent. That's so good to hear. We need to reiterate that always, constantly.
Yeah.
And so when you say, like, this whole idea of Christchurch, the point is it's a university town. That is a key, and also it's a town with great established small industry, engineering. There's so many things going for any place that favours the support of the arts, and the investment in it comes from probably two generations older who've got the money to pour it in. You know, I was looking at the philanthropy for the Court Theatre, just looking at all the names from the philanthropy.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Right,
yeah.
And
I was looking at that recently too, actually. Yeah, I was literally standing outside the new building, having a read. Yeah.
Your partner David obviously moved here. He's always stayed here, isn't he? How's he found New Zealand? Like, he's come from Canada, which I imagine is a much more worldly place than what we are here. Is he?
Well, I suppose it is. It's what is worldly. You know, I've taken great photographs of the railway track. He lived in Quebec as a child, and the railway track just outside where they used to live, with long tall grasses growing everywhere now. Small village with one big industry, but the railway track ran down to Montreal and down to New York. That's what the railway track did, and they didn't have a car, so they would.
So he grew up in quite a small town then.
He grew up in a tiny village.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Wow.
yeah.
So New Zealand, so Christchurch is
So,
fine for him.
but the railway track ran to Montreal and New York. So his childhood was going to Montreal, New York when he was taken on outings with his family. So he's told everyone he was taken to the Oyster Bar in New York railway station when he was 14.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah. And taken to the round table at the hotel, the Algonquin table, where all the journalists used to hang out. So I picked up on sophistication really fast. And you'll see, you're about to talk with me in my ebook and ask me questions.
Exactly.
And tell me stories
There we
back.
go. See?
It is my next project. It's a moving
that's
image
great,
project because when I made my last film in America, we'd raised a child, and I could see at 15 that child was heading into the industry, and I knew I had to make sure that he understood the sophistication of doing to the very best. Because if you're not at your best, you're not headhunted.
Yes. Yeah.
Is he still doing? Is he still doing?
Yeah, he's
'Cause
headhunted.
you did it on art in the gaming industry, right? Is he literally still doing that in New Zealand or overseas?
Well, he's international.
Wow.
The games are sold in America, Germany, or on Steam.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steam.
Yeah.
So that's what everyone's
So I mean, when I saw at 15 that was the direction, I was thinking and creating at home.
Yep. Yeah.
I had the awareness that all young people have to be lifted out to the global world with their art.
So you timed that film, the making of that film, perfectly, because I remember I just read up on it. I have seen it, I think, at the festival when you played it. But you mentioned that you hired your son as your
researcher. He was my researcher for the first 2 weeks. I said, show me this, and this, or show me what you think I'm going to respond to. And then he sent me off. He was 15.
Wow.
And at 19, I just rang up. I rang up the
one of the people you met, was it?
CEO of GDC at San Francisco, and said, I want to come up and make a film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. That's what you do.
And
That's what you do. You
exactly.
state your objective.
And say I'm doing this. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And how old's your son now?
He's 37.
Okay, and he's in New Zealand or overseas?
He is. He's in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
He's in New Zealand.
But he works globally, yeah.
Well, the work goes globally because, of
Yeah.
course, the producers take it, and the investors are all global.
Brilliant.
You know, they're China or America or local.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. He's making a living out of the gaming industry. That's great.
Fantastic.
Last film then. What you got?
What are we finishing
Well,
with?
the thing is, we have to decide what life and death is all about, and how we make value out of it, and we have to have a sense of humour. And don't forget
What a
that
fitting pick.
Mickey is the third of Bong Joon-ho's films.
Yes.
Now, it's not the third of Bong Joon-ho's films.
The third in that must be the third in that
It's the
concept.
third commercial release of his films. You go
Right.
into his back history. His father and his mother were either a writer or an artist. You have to go back to history. You have to
Yes.
see where the inspiration gives a person confidence. And he would have done many trial and error films, many. I mean, I've only just glanced when I thought, I'm going to pick Mickey and I'm going to remember Snowpiercer. Because I remember Snowpiercer. I remember going out to Snowpiercer when it first came out. I mean, my thing is, if you're going to watch a narrative, get the first one out as soon as it comes into a festival. Any cinema showing it. I mean, the reason I've come here is because even again,
Back in the day or
no,
recently?
even now, just
Yeah.
recently, I've
Yeah.
come here just to see the woman's film, The Materialist.
Oh, yeah,
Song.
yep, which
Songs
I haven't
film.
seen yet. but
That's
I
why I
know
came here to see the song. So I then really, I suppose, if I'm going out with a bang, it's really interesting to talk about Korean directors, in terms of how I've intimated the idea of economy and back history of America, Germany, France, Italy. That's what we can think of with film in America. Korean cinema obviously came along later for economic purposes. You know, I mean, it had to recover well after not only the war but its own wars before
Yes,
such and such. So
fighting the neighbours and so forth.
many song was from South Korea, just as Boon Joon-ho is. They're from South Korea, so that means, you know, the busy industrial city, and that's also significantly important because song is working at how to tell a comedy about how you make how a matchmaker figures in a story. Mickey's way down the track because he's even been sent to another planet because he has got no skills. I mean, it's a worrisome thought.
He doesn't
it's
know
a
what he wants to
worrisome.
do.
This is Slacker, but from Korea. It's got different implication, and but the point about this director is the proficiency of his work. It's astonishing. I remember going to see Snowpiercer, and that's 2013.
Yeah.
Snowpiercer, and I don't know. You know, Jake. The plot of that is. Snowpiercer is, I mean, it's the nearest you get to the horror of climate change. For example, it's a train. It's a train that goes in a continuous circle, and it's housed in a class stratified way from the rear of the train to the front of the train, and all outside is complete.
Ice and that.
Ice
and so the world's population lives on the train, right?
Yeah, we've had apocalyptic collapse.
Yes.
With climate change, and we're all on the train. And Tilda Swinton is on it.
It's based on it's based on a graphic book, isn't it?
It's based on a graphic book, and so of course this is the great joy of, I suppose the 21st century is really applauding how the graphic novel took us away from literature. And I think the thing that's great is now, of course, we're getting to The Last of Us, which I haven't seen yet, which is the first film made from a video game.
Yes.
So that's what the 21st century has been, sort of breathing in and out. You know, not huffing, but breathing deeply in and out, gasping at still being able to hold on to exactly what it's representing. And I think it helps through the media and the studies of media to actually get handles on these shifts. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. And they probably go through time at different generations.
Well, you know, novels and poetry were powerful, and now the transition into the next generations, it's been the graphic novel and the video game,
and films, for that matter,
and
as well.
and then the video game. You see, we know.
Well, the video game
the audience is larger.
It's
we
huge.
know
It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, when you would have seen that from
So to honour The Last of Us, which I haven't yet seen.
This is the television adaptation. Is that what you're talking about? The
Last of Us.
It's supposed to be amazing.
Well, of course, the other thing that we can appraise, and actually, if you think of even what you have here as a business, you know, the longest film probably here, if you have it, is Sure.
I think it is too. Yeah.
Which is a 4-hour film about a train driver taking people to Auschwitz. So it's a study of a train driver.
Is it a dramatisation?
Well, it's a documentary.
It's a documentary.
Wow.
It was the first documentary shown in Christchurch where you, after
in the
after 2 hours of viewing it, there was an interval, and people would go out and get a lunch and a coffee and come back.
Wow. Did you see it when it came out here?
No. I was up making Enjoy.
Auckland, 1980.
Yeah, it's kind of depressive as the stories about the people being taken to the concentration camps.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where the long form started to be appraised, is at the pivot of our first Holocaust of the 20th century.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so now we get to long form TV series, and we've got Netflix and all these long form series. And I was really pleased to see that you've got a section of long form TV shows, which is very appropriate for children growing up to understand social class structure and economy through costume cinema, costume drama.
Yeah.
It's and you've got a light-hearted comedy, desperately being destroyed by Jane Austen or whatever, that's playing here.
Oh, the French one, yeah.
Yeah, the French one. I mean, it's totally light, but anyway.
It hasn't started yet, but it's coming from the film festival.
It always pops up,
yeah.
These light-hearted rom-coms. But that rom-com across the way is significant. Song. Celine Song. Is that her name?
Oh, yeah, the Materials, is it? Yeah.
Yes.
As good as it? I haven't seen it yet.
It's excellent. Yeah.
I'm going to go and see it, okay.
It's really excellent.
Fantastic.
It's just got the most rhapsodically interesting music score. because we could start this whole session again, and you can just talk the music soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah. What was the one I was talking? There was one I watched just recently that I was raving about. There Will Be Blood.
Oh yeah.
Soundtrack.
We just
It's
saw
one of
that
those.
the
I
other day.
don't know why. I've just been picking up a lot of different soundtracks. Have been on my mind lately. Just been watching films and.
It's so great, Jake, because it's great because you've come through the evolution of the practice of cinema, and now you're appreciating other people in different fields.
Oh, of course. Well, it's like you mentioned before, the brutalist and the architecture and everything. I mean, locations in films, until I actually started doing locations work. I mean, I can certainly watch a film and go, oh, it's a nice location, but I never actually appreciated, like you said, how when a film uses minimal locations to the best
Yes,
possible
yes.
ability. It's amazing,
Yeah.
and I've lately I've really taken note of shows and films, especially if it's a one location shot or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've taken a lot more note of that and have a lot more appreciation for particular locations. And I mean, when you're a kid and you're watching a film and they're shooting somewhere,
Yeah.
an amazing place. Let's just say one of the seven wonders of the world. They might be shooting at the pyramids, or it might be a film set at Angkor Wat in Cambodia or something like that. And as a kid, you watch and you think, oh, that's cool. They had all the money in the world. But as an adult, you actually appreciate and understand, especially me watching my making ofs and things, and yourself as a filmmaker, Peter's a filmmaker. We watch them and you have so much more appreciation for how they've pulled these things off. But locations in particular are something that have
It's location, form, framing.
it's everything. Yeah.
It's movement, camera movement.
But I can watch a good film
And you
again.
learned all that at film school, didn't you? You had a real film school mind. You have.
Yeah, and I can watch a film again and again, and each time I'll pick up something different, and and that's why I love layered films. And Mickey 17's a great example. I mean, that's a very, very rewatchable film.
Actually, if you've seen, he's got another one that he did before this similar plot. I can't remember its name. You know, it?
Parasite, or
the one with the big pig.
Okja. Is that the same?
No, but I didn't see it in a read. I did.
I think he did Okja. Yeah, that was great.
Is it the same director?
I think so.
Yeah,
But I
I
could
think
be
you
wrong.
might be right. Yeah. Good film. Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Similar plot to this one.
Yes. Yeah.
If you enjoyed that one, you'd enjoy that one.
Yeah. Pete, Mickey 17, you liked that film?
Yeah, it was
Well,
zany.
of course, the thing that's so sophisticated is the complexity of the edit
Yes. Yeah.
and the layers of the edit and the
The script supervisor would have had such a crazy job on that.
Yeah, and it's droll. I mean, this is a mature director. You know,
Yes,
It's totally droll. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's a you're
Thank
absolutely
you
right.
very much. You were wonderful. Coming in.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Steph, for coming in and for chatting films and for sharing a bit of your history. It's been absolutely incredible, and I would love to get you back in here again at some point if we could, and maybe talk about another 10 films.
Gosh, yeah. But it's a total treat, and
Well,
it is. It's actually a gesture from out of home, and I like being able to do. I spent quite a long time talking about art at the art gallery, so it's kind of
Wonderful.
great coming here into this little cave.
Well,
Have
look,
you had a job doing that, or just
No,
just to talk,
volunteer
just
work.
with
I've
friends,
never done
spontaneous?
volunteer work. I remember when I was 8, I was hopeless in the brownies. I hated having to go and peel the potatoes. And I rang up my mother and said, I want to come home. I don't want to do this. So I'm a total slacker when it comes to volunteer work. But I was quite happy to give talks about art.
Oh, yeah.
amazing. Well, we're so grateful for you giving up your time tonight to come in and talk about.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
wonderful art.
Thank
So
you.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you. Cheers, then.